us online if you're on Twitter or X, wherever you are, Instagram, whatever you might be watching us on, Facebook, whatever. Make sure that you give a like and you give a share. And if you're on YouTube or Rumble, make sure you subscribe, because that's how we're going to be able to get this broadcast out to more people and let them know what's really going on, not just here where we are, but also all across the world. Now, if you like and subscribe, make sure that you share and let people know that we are on every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. Let's get into it. So, man, boy, it has definitely cooled down a lot since it's been the last couple of weeks. I guess maybe pretty much all of last week it's been over 100. But I tell you what, it's still about 80 something degrees today, and it is still quite hot. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's cool. Let's put it like that. So with everything that we've got going on in the world, I guess I'd say that the heat probably isn't helping it. But as you guys watch this show, I hope that at least every episode that you take away just a little bit of encouragement, or a lot of encouragement. I'd prefer that you take away a lot of encouragement to get active, to get engaged, and to actually get involved in politics on the local level if you can, but definitely start understanding more about the way that government works and who does what on what branches of the government. Because if we don't stand up as the people to say, hey, we don't like the way the direction the country is going, we don't like greedy globalists running our nation and destroying our country, we don't like all the crime and violence in the communities, we don't like the soft on crime laws, we don't like the horrible educational things that they're putting in the schools when the kids are graduating high school and they can barely read or write, then nobody is going to stand up. And let me tell you like this, like it is right now. No one is coming to save us in America. I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it a little bit slow, just so you understand. No one is coming to save us in America. It is completely and 100% up to you, up to me, up to every American citizen that knows what's going on and sees that the country isn't going in the right direction, so that we can fight and stand up and save a better future for the children, the babies, and a better future for ourselves tomorrow. Because if we don't create the brighter tomorrow that we want, it will not come, and nobody is doing it for us. I am a God-fearing Christian. Yes, the Lord lives in me, but I promise you, nobody is coming down out the sky to come help us. We are here, then we have to stand up. That's what we have to do. That is our job. While we are here, we have to get active. We have to stand, we have to occupy, and we have to make this happen. If we don't, nobody's coming to save us. And with that, I want to get into some of the current events that we got going on, not just where I live and not just in the United States, but all across the world. Let's go over and let's jump to the Middle East real quick. We're going to talk about Israel, and we're going to talk about Lebanon, and we're going to talk about Gaza. Now, if you guys follow this show and you've been following me for some time, I know I've talked about Lebanon and what's going on in Israel before, and people just didn't want to hear what I was talking about. I've been telling them that Israel is going to roll out into Lebanon, and now here it looks like they're gonna. You got all of the war cabinet, well, what's left of the war cabinet, right? Some of them stepped down, so that's a big deal over there. But we got Benjamin Netanyahu, and we've got all these other people that are now talking about, oh, well, these people from Hezbollah, right? Hezbollah, not the Palestinian Authority, and not the Hamas, right? So Hezbollah in Lebanon, right? Now, just as a side note, before we keep going in there, I'd like to point out the fact that Hezbollah has training camps in Mexico, and they have training camps in Venezuela. So as we've had all of these open borders, we've had people that have been trained by the enemy of our country that openly say that they want to destroy America, coming through and creeping through the southern border. We even just saw, 9 terrorists from Turkmenistan? I think it was Turkmenistan. Okay, it might have been Uzbekistan, but I'm pretty sure it was Turkmenistan. Come across the northern border the other week, right? And the northern border is almost as bad as the southern border. It's just a little more hard to get up there. You know, so here's the deal. If we don't pay closer attention to what's going on a worldwide basis, it's going to affect us here at home. And because a lot of people here at home haven't been focused on what's going on at the border, or haven't really pushed anything to be done differently, or haven't really engaged with any of the elected officials to try to encourage them to do something differently, stuff is going to heck in a handbasket. And what do they say? With gasoline draws on, okay? Everything's about to burn if we don't start standing up and if we don't get ready. Now, talking about that, going back over there to Israel and Lebanon real quick. Israel has said that they're going to go and start taking strikes in Lebanon. They've already been striking inside Lebanon. Now, Lebanon's its own country. It's not part of Palestine or previous Palestine. Technically, it's kind of part of the previous, what would you call it? What was it? The Palestinian Mandate, which isn't the country of Palestine, but it's British mandated Palestine. It's a whole different thing, and you really got to dig into it. We've talked about this on other episodes before, but I encourage you to go look into the history there. Anyway, so, or it could, depending on how you look at it, it could have been part of Syria, depending on what time frame you're looking at. It doesn't matter. But regardless, that's over in the north of Israel, to the north of Israel, and they're starting to go and they're engaging with them there. What they've said out of a press conference the other day in Israel, they said this. They said, oh, well, we're going to start proceeding with engagements in Lebanon, and we're going to go back to mowing the grass later. I had to laugh. That's crazy. That's a crazy statement. Mowing the grass. They're talking about clearing out Gaza. That's wow. That's a lot, right? Like, that's saying a lot. Like, you could even like Israel. You could really like Israel. You could really support Israel, okay? And Israel is one of our great allies, and you know how strongly I support our allies, right? But if you're going to get weapons and stuff from us, you need to pay. You need to pay cash, okay? Because we need to stop giving out free stuff. And you're like, oh, well, we're giving them all this money and stuff like that. We're largely giving them arms and stuff like that. Very few of them have any type of interest rates or anything on them. They're not going to ever pay us back the money, not really, okay? So if they want some more weapons and stuff like that, they need to pay. They need to pay cash. We accept cash. We accept gold over here in America. And in certain instances, we accept oil. Well, you know how America loves oil, right? Woo. But as I talk about this conversation, I don't want it to sound one way or another, but the fact of the matter is that Israel is our ally, right? And I firmly support our allies, right? Okay? But the fact of the matter is the way that they flagrantly talked about mowing Gaza as if it was a lawn, like that, man, at least watch how you use language when you're talking publicly. Come on now, what you doing? Like that language is bad language. Like nobody, well, why would you say it like that? Don't say it like that. Definitely don't say it like that in public, because that's gonna make the people that's mad at you more mad, and that's just gonna go to lend credence to what they're talking about. And you shouldn't be lending any credence to what they're talking about, because them people is largely crazy. I talk about all the time how people talk about, oh, it's a genocide over there. It's a genocide. Man, that many people ain't dying. But I'm going to tell you what's happening over there. It is a mass displacement, okay? And because it's a mass displacement and y'all keep calling it a genocide like everybody's dead, everybody ain't dead. Very few of them are actually dead comparatively to the numbers, okay? But the majority of them are being displaced. So the fact is that they're being displaced and they need somewhere to be housed, but they can't be housed because y'all out here talking about it's a genocide. So if it's a genocide, there ain't no people left and don't nobody need to be housed. So they can't get the housing or the food or the resources or anything that they need because y'all out here talking about this genocide. Come on now. It's so disgusting it makes you want to spit, man. It's terrible. It's terrible. Language is important. I saw this vegan butcher shop. Okay, a vegan butcher shop, that doesn't even make sense. That's an oxymoron. If it's vegan, vegans don't deal with food. A butcher vegans don't deal with food. Well, right. Vegans don't deal with meat, right? And a butcher is somebody that slaughters animals and cuts them, right? Vegetables aren't animals no matter how you cut it. Fruits aren't animals no matter how you cut it. Legumes and all of the rest of them other types of plants, okay, that you would consider plants, not all that are. Some are roots and stuff like that. But anything that you would consider plant or of a plant, or even mushrooms and fungi and what's the other one? I forget the other one now off the top of my head. But here's the deal. None of those are anything to do with meat. A butcher is specifically meat, right? So you can't have a vegan butcher. I hate the way that people are doing language in this country, and we as Americans need to stand up and we need to shut them down every time they start using words that already have definitions and meanings as if there's something else. Like asexual already has a meaning. Asexual means that you're able to reproduce yourself without having someone else. But that's not what they're trying to use asexual to mean now. They're trying to use it as somebody that, oh, they don't want to have sex. That's just saying that you want to be abstinent. Just say that. If you want to be abstinent, just say that. Don't try to make up some whole new word that's already a word that already means something else, trying to confuse language. That's double talk, which causes double think. Go look both those words up. That's double talk, which causes double think. Okay, which when you cultivate language that way, you limit the way that people are able to think and the reasoning that they're able to have, which is part of the serious issue with our devolving PC culture in the United States of America. One of my favorite movies is from the 80s. It's called Airplane. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But there's all types of crazy stuff in there that's very, very funny, and stereotypes and everything, and it's very, very funny. And it's humorous, right? And why are stereotypes humorous? Because they're largely based in fact, okay? Largely based in truth. Now, maybe it's not 100% truth, but they're funny because they're true, you know? Black people like hot sauce. I don't like hot sauce, right? So I'd be an exclusion to that. But it's true. You know, that's like, Jewish people eat matzah. Well, most of them do. It's true. You know, and this is a problem where we have people say, oh, well, you can't say this or you can't say that. Well, is it true? You know, at least in general, is it true? How are you going to police what I'm saying? Is it true? What is wrong with your soft, sticky feeling? Is it true? Everybody's so soft nowadays. We've raised up a soft generation that's so weak that the wind could blow them over. It's a very, very serious issue. But back to this issue of language, everybody's so terrified of language. Oh, maybe you might misgender me. No, you're misgendering yourself. You're misgendering yourself. You're a boy. You're not a girl. You're not what's it? Trans woman, trans man. I don't know. Some nonsense. Whatever that nonsense is, you're not that. You were born a boy. You're a boy. What did Mr. Rogers say? A boy is a boy from the beginning. You understand what I'm saying? Mr. Rogers was trying to put people on. He used to be a Presbyterian minister before he died. If you guys didn't know that, he really exemplified good Christian values in Christianity and made it look really good. And I really appreciate him for everything that he did. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Okay. But now, if he were to look at the Presbyterian church, he'd be terribly, horribly sad and terribly terrified. Because if you look at that, they've got all this alphabetism and everything, and that's got nothing to do with Christianity, and that's absolutely terrible. But to talk about that, you got all these alphabet people out there supporting Palestine and Hamas and all these, and Hezbollah and all these crazy things, and those people will kill you. Excuse my language, that's not a falsehood, that's a fact. They do not like homosexuals, they do not like transgender, they do not like them. So why y'all out here jockeying for them? Talking about, look at Dearborn, Michigan, right? They elected a Muslim, city council, and immediately they banned the pride flags, right? Like, what are you don't even know anything about Islam, y'all, and then y'all like, oh, we're converting to Islam. Y'all some fake Muslims, right? Like, and that's coming from me, a Christian, right? Like, and we have two completely different views on religion, the Muslims and the Christians, right? But I had a lot of friends that are Muslims, and I have studied a little bit. I could study more, you know, my Arabic isn't that good, you know, but I could study more on it just so I'm more versed in it. I'm never going to change religion. Please, people, come to Jesus. You all need Jesus, and the Quran mentions Jesus a lot. We can talk about that on another episode, but we're not really talking about that. But we're talking about the fact that the Muslims don't like the homosexuals or the alphabet people, and y'all out here talking about, oh, we're supporting these people. Them people don't like you. Them people don't like you. That'd be like me going out talking about, oh, I support the Klan. I don't support the Klan. They don't like me. Why would I reserve the right to dislike anybody that dislikes me? And I'm dang on sure not gonna mess with them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, what's wrong with y'all? Like, those people want you gone, like completely out of existence, as in unalived. Like, are we being real right now? And y'all out here supporting them, right? But in the meantime, Israel, which supports alphabet rights and stuff like that, which, again, that's against the Torah, so I don't know why they're doing it. They need to turn back to the Lord and their general holy books, and this is part of the problem, why they're besieged with all their problems, because they're not even following their own religion. Hello? I'm going to say that and somebody's going to feel some type of way about it, but it's the truth. And I'm glad for so many Jews and people that are Hebrew that actually will stand up and say that. Because the fact of the matter is Israel has moved far away from their traditional values and from their Toradical, I'm making up words now, from the values of the Torah, right? Okay, can we talk about that? No, you can't talk about that, because if you say anything about that, then it's going to be an issue. But that's why they got so much strife and so many problems over there right now, because they've turned away from the Lord. They're out here saying, oh yeah, all this alphabetism, all this is good and it's okay. Is it? Show it to me in the scripture. It definitely talks against that, right? But the fact of the matter is they do support it, right? They support all of that, but they hate Christians. Can we talk about that? No, it's not. We can't talk about that. Not all of them hate Christians, but a lot of the Orthodox over there treat Christians really bad and spit on them and beat them and all types of stuff. It's terrible, and we need to have a conversation about that sometime. We also need to have a conversation about the Palestinian Christians, okay, which are some of the oldest Christians in the history of the world, and how many Christian holy sites have been destroyed in Gaza. Can we talk about that? No, okay, because everybody's over there associating Gaza with Islam when, okay, can we talk about the fact that that whole area used to be Christian? All of it used to be Christian. Christian Syria, Christian Lebanon, Christian Libya, Christian Egypt. The Coptic Egyptians are still there. One of the oldest sects of Christianity still there. Okay, even though they're treated horrible by the Muslims that are there. Okay, which is a whole nother episode. We'd have to talk about that. But we need to be talking about these things. Okay, all of that over there was Christianic. Okay, and don't get me started over there, because I don't even really want to talk over there, because y'all don't want me to get involved over there, because I'm like, hello. Okay, maybe we need a new crusades, and maybe we need to start and retake Jerusalem, recreate the kingdom of Jerusalem, because y'all tripping right now. Y'all really tripping, and y'all pushing this Islamic radicalism all across the world, right? And y'all mixing all the type of this other ideology with this radical Islamic stuff and this radical socialist stuff, and it's creating all types of terrorism all across the world, even inside our own borders. And that's the point that I'm getting to with Lebanon, right? Like, Lebanon is attacking Israel. Well, not Lebanon, the country, right? But Hezbollah, there's a little intricacies there, which is probably worth a separate episode, but I'm not ever going to do that episode. But look into it, right? Like, there's a little bit of a difference there. And I wonder what's going on with Jordan right now, right? Because Jordan's been really silent. At least I haven't heard much going on over there during this whole debacle. But they got their own problems over there with the king and the princess or queen. I don't know if she's technically the queen. I guess she's technically the queen. But they got their own problems over there. I wish Jordan luck. Okay, but besides that, Lebanon's attacking Israel. Israel's talking about, we about to go in there and we about to go stomp a mud hole in there behind. So Israel's getting ready to go invade Lebanon, and this is going to be real, real serious. And this might lead to an expansion of the whole conflict that's going on over there. Because who knows if Syria is going to get involved after that. Not that Syria can really get involved, because the U.S. really decimated Syria and their military and stuff. I don't know how well they're doing, but Russia's in Syria right now trying to help balance out Bashar al-Assad, okay? Because, and nobody will remember this, but under Obama, we were actually still allies with Syria, and Syria was one of the most westernized Muslim nations in the world, right? Like, women could wear like regular clothes and pants and drive cars and all types of stuff like that. And then all of a sudden one day we just flipped the switch and we said Syria is the enemy. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows why. Nobody can tell you why. You can ask anybody. Then nobody knows why. And then they'll tell you, oh, well, Bashar al-Assad was trying to kill his own people. Why was he trying to kill his own people? He wasn't Saddam Hussein. He wasn't gassing the Kurds. Like, why was he trying to kill his own people? Because he wasn't, right? Like, what happened over there was that the USA fermented destabilization over there, and with the CIA, they funded operations to actually go and try to topple the government, to destabilize the government over there. Why? To what end? To what benefit? That's my real question, right? Who stands a benefit by doing that? I don't see any benefit for the US. So my real question is, who's going to do, who was all up in there doing stuff? If Mossad wanted to do that, let Mossad do that. That's their own business. We need to leave our business outside of their business, because their business ain't always our business. And they really don't be doing the things that better the U.S. They just be doing the things that better Israel. And I'm not mad at them, because that's their priority, right? But when the CIA gets involved, it needs to be bettering the U.S., right? But it seems like a lot of the things that the CIA has been doing lately has been actually furthering the globalist agenda. And I wish that they get back in line and they really go back to actually focusing on increasing the United States' power and not the globalist agenda. Like, y'all used to be really good at that. But I guess since Henry Kissinger, y'all really started to push this globalization. May you come back to America. Lord bless. Okay? And the priorities of America. But that's besides the point. To get back on task, you know, the issue with Lebanon can expand and it can overflow. And if that happens, we might be sending American troops over into the Middle East, because that can very quickly get out of hand. Plus, we've still got the issues going on with the Houthis in Yemen, right? But we can't talk about that, okay? So who knows what will happen over there. It's a powder keg waiting to happen. And then what happens when they take the focus over on what's going on in Lebanon? Then those poor Palestinians that everybody fakes like they care about are completely going to be forgotten about, right? Because now it's on to the next thing. You know, these crazy people, they're out like, I support the current thing. Before it was Ukraine. Before Ukraine, it was Antifa. Before Antifa, it was BLM. Before BLM, it was the alphabet agenda nonsense. Okay? But we can't talk about that. We can't have honest conversations in here in America because somebody's always going to get offended. And that's a very, very, very serious issue. And the easy offense makes the limitation of conversation and what's actually going on. And people are thinking that they're being all PC and stuff like that, or they're trying to prevent hurting people's feelings, but only they're doing a detriment to our country because we can't have the very necessary, impactful conversations that we need to have. This is why they shut down the churches and they shut down the bars and stuff during COVID, right? But you know what was open? The liquor store was open, but they shut down the churches because they didn't want you to gather. They knew that people that were gathering, and this might not be in like every state, right? Like you might have been somewhere in South Dakota that never shut down or something. I'm talking about like New York, California, and other places. And it's crazy because the people in New York and California don't even know that other places in the country never shut down. And we need to have that level of conversation. But they shut down the churches, and the churches didn't say boo. And I need to know where all the Christians are. Y'all need to stand up, okay? Because y'all out there lukewarm isn't even the word for what's going on. Y'all need to repent and turn back to the Lord, and you need to stand up and stand strong, and you need to stand on Christian and biblical values. And that's not happening. And we need more of that. All of these fake Christians in politics, all of these fake Catholics in politics, okay, but when they talk about something, they don't want to say anything. And they're like, oh, now Louisiana has passed a law to say that, oh, they can put the 10 Commandments back in schools. Now, the 10 Commandments were in schools up to the 70s, right? Okay, it's from like 1770 to like the 70s, really before that, because before America became a nation, because we've always been a Christian nation. Okay, y'all say that we're not, but we don't have an official state religion, but we have been, and we are. And you're trying to erode that, and you're trying to manipulate that, and that's why there are no morals and there are no principles in our society today, because everything is based off the satanic principle: do whatever you want all the time, as long as it feels good. That's if you look into Satanism, right? That is what the Satanic Church will tell you is their first tenets and core principle. Do whatever you want all the time, whatever makes you feel good. That's their tenets. That's not even a joke. But that's the way that America is right now. And we need to turn back from that, and we need to turn back to our Christian values and morals. But we got people out here mad that they're about to put the 10 Commandments back into schools. Y'all mad because what? Because it's religious? How? Right? How? Because it's the 10 Commandments? You mean those same 10 Commandments that are also what would you how you say it? Judaistic, Hebrewistic, whatever the word that I'm looking for. Y'all know what I'm looking for, okay? That's also part of the Jewish religion, right? You mean them same core principles and philosophy, the 10 Commandments that also seem to somehow appear in Hinduism? Are we going to talk about that? No? You mean those same general 10 Commandments, which also somehow, magically, even though a little different and kind of corrupted, still appear in Islam. Can we talk about that? How do all of those things appear everywhere and y'all mad that they're going in there? They're not mad that the 10 Commandments are going in there. They're mad that the Lord is going back into schools because they do not want the Lord in schools. They do not want Jesus in schools. They do not want anything teaching the children about how that they can have a way out of eternal damnation and to look past the worldliness of this planet and to look past the satanistic ways and the great evil of this planet. They don't want that. They don't want a return of morals and values. They don't want to return to chastity and virtue. They don't want to return to complete nuclear families. They don't want any of that. That's why they don't teach critical thinking in schools. That's why our babies are so limited in the ability to reason and think, and comprehension is terrible. But can we have that honest and genuine conversation? No, we can't. Why can't we have that general conversation? Because nobody wants to be real with what's really going on. We've got a bunch of weak Christians, and we got a bunch of weak politicians, and we got a ton of weak Catholics. Now, I consider myself a non-denominational Christian that leans pretty Baptist, okay? But I have a lot of affinity for the Catholic Church. I know I'm going to take some heat on that because people feel some way about the Catholic Church, okay? I don't. I just want them to get right with the Lord because they ain't right now, and this new pope is an apostate. I said what I said. Feel how you really feel. You hear what this man is saying. You see what this man is doing, and he's destroying the church. He just called one of the cardinals from California. What's the cardinal's name? Oh, I love that guy. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he called him from California, talking about he's going to excommunicate him because he's talking the truth. And the truth is a lie. And the truth is Jesus Christ. Jesus died for our sins. He was the perfect sacrifice that was sent from the Father, our God, in heaven above, so that he could die for our sins. Okay? So that we would have a way and a path to the Father. He died because he was completely man. And he resurrected from the dead because he was also God. And that is the difference between Christianity and all of these other religions, because they don't believe that. Okay? Jesus came to save us all from eternal damnation. But this world is about worldliness. And it's leading you down a path of sin, damnation, and destruction. Why do you think that there is so much abomination in this world today? Right? Why do you think that everybody's got mental problems? Why do you think that everybody is so empty on the inside? Why do you think that it's so hard for people to get along? Because they lack Jesus inside of them. They lack the presence of the Father inside of them. They lack the Holy Spirit. And we need to return to those virtues. And we need to return to those teachings. And we need to return to the 10 Commandments. I mean, they're very basic, right? They are very basic. You know, thou shalt not murder. I feel like that's a good one. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Like, I feel like that's a good one. Like, they all pretty good. But can we talk about that? And you know, I'm like paraphrasing them. Like, there's more to it, but I'm paraphrasing them. And you shall not have any other God before me. Like, they don't want that. That's a real part that they don't want in there, because it says that. They don't want that part. It's so disgusting, it makes you want to spit. But here's the problem. We're going to go back to Lebanon and the Middle East, and then we're going to switch parts of the world that we're in. And I want to appreciate you guys right now for listening to WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. You're listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. If you're listening to us, like, subscribe, share if you're online, and make sure if you want to actually sponsor our show, you can go to MarcusWilliams222@outlook.com and say that you'd like to sponsor our show, and we can work something out so you can help sponsor our show so we can get more of the message out to more of the people. That's MarcusWilliams222 at Outlook.com. So, and if you're watching us on YouTube, Rumble, X, or wherever, make sure you like and subscribe and share. Definitely share. Share everywhere so more people can hear. Okay? So back into it, back with Israel. So Israel invades Lebanon, or whatever the case is. Then we're going to be in real sore issues, right? And what's going to happen everywhere else? Is somebody going to come to to Lebanon's aid and Hezbollah's aid? I don't know what Iran's going to do. Iran's pretty rah-rah, right? And then you have to think of manpower issues, right? Like, if Israel is going after and they're attacking right now, they're doing with the issue in Gaza, right? They got some stuff going on in the West Bank, but not really so much right now. They had a little bit of stuff going on in northern Israel, southern Syria, kind of, sort of. I guess it's kind of southern Syria. And some stuff over there going on and stuff like that. But their military is being spread all over the place. I don't think that it's a positive way to carry on a military engagement. But clearly, Benjamin Netanyahu swears that he knows what he's doing. I think it's very greatly detrimental. That's why so many people in his country are protesting against him. Matter of fact, it's very interesting how everybody was protesting against Netanyahu and he barely won the last election. And they were protesting against him and what he was doing and how he wasn't really for the people right before October 7th happened. And then that happened and all of a sudden the country went to war. Now we got people in America protesting Biden and all of his policies and everything that's going on the right and on the left. Okay? We got them protesting Biden. Are we going to go to war? So that he can keep his power during this next election? Okay? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Keep an eye out for that because something very suspicious and shaky is going on. Because they're trying to send Steve Bannon and Alex Jones and other people that have very large voices in the in alternative media, including Russell Brand and other people, to jail, right? Like, it's not just people that are on the right. It's people that are not far left or are not capitulating to what the government narrative is, right? Like, so that's everybody. That's even a lot of libertarians, okay? So they're trying to shut down a lot of voices, and we already know, again, back to COVID, we saw what happened during COVID. We're still reeling from the effects of what was happening to the media under COVID. I'm in New York State right now. They done made something where if you're under 18, you can't even get on Facebook or Instagram and stuff like that, and they're limiting your social media access. And the government is doing this. This is very weird, right? Like, I kind of support it personally as an individually, but policy-wise, giving that power to the government is absolutely terrible, okay? And then they're making it so they can't get any notifications between 10 p.m. and like 5 a.m. or something like that, Kathy Hochul said. I don't know what it is. But that's not going to be just for them. That's a test phase so that they can expand it to the rest of all of us. And y'all need to wake up and really see what's going on with our government, the government silencing our voices. Like, can we really talk about that? No. But back to Benjamin Netanyahu, right? So they're over there protesting him right now. Right now. His war minister stepped down because he don't like the way he's carrying on the war. Right now. Okay? And you can be critical of someone and not, and just because I'm critical of him doesn't mean that I don't support our allies. I just think that the way he's carrying on this war is terrible. I think the way that America carries on a lot of wars is terrible, and I love my country. Y'all know how I feel about America. I'm Captain America in this piece. Okay? You might as well call me General America or something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love America, but this is real. I don't like a lot of the things we're doing. I don't think the focus in the U.S. is in the right place right at this time. We're over there in Russia. Now let's switch a little bit, right? Let's go up north a little bit to Ukraine, right? From Israel to Ukraine. Let's go up there a little bit. They just had one of the drones that was given by the U.S. which allegedly, now this is what was said. I don't know if it was actually this type of a missile, but they said that a drone launched HIMARS at a Russian beach in Crimea, right? And it killed like 28 people and wounded like 100, and they're still going through it or whatever the case is. So that news is still developing. And that's nowhere near the actual military facility. Like, that's like, if you saw the map, like, it's not even close. Like, that's the difference between like where you live and like way, way far away. Like, you couldn't see it if you had binoculars, right? Like, so it had only to be intentional, right? Maybe, right? Let me just say it like this. Maybe the drone was programmed wrong or something. But it seems more likely that it was intentional. That they purposely wanted to massacre those people. That's absolutely atrocious what happened, but we can't talk about it, right? Because it was Russians, right? We can't talk about that because they killed Russians. We need to really have a conversation when we talk about humanity and humanitarian stuff. But we can't have that open conversation because, again, you got to be PC. You got to watch what you say, or the government will get you, or your friends will be mean to you, or people will discount you, or people will shun you and stuff like that. This is why I talk about these type of issues with the PC-ness and the political correctness and the limitation of the language that you're able to use to express what's going on. We need to be real, 100% real. Because if we're not having a real conversation, we're not going to be able to stop what's coming, which is the continued crushing of the foot of the boot, with the boot from the government on the American people's neck. For real. So as we move forward and we're talking about Ukraine and we're talking about Russia, Russia just had a terrorist attack, right? Recently, you might remember a couple months ago, there were 114 or something people killed by a terrorist attack at a concert hall in Russia. by Islamic terrorists. Okay, now just over the weekend, they had churches and synagogues and police stations attacked in three different cities by a coordinated attack by Islamist terrorists. Okay, and they killed multiple people in the churches. They slit the throat of one of the Orthodox priests. Slit his throat. Can we talk about the persecution and what's happening to Christians all across the world right now? Can we talk about that or no? We can't talk about that. We need to be talking about that. Christians need to be standing up for Christians. You want to stand up for everybody else, but you ain't standing up for what's going on with the Christians. Y'all won't stand up for the genocide that's been committed against the people in was it Uzbekistan or is it the other one? I don't know. There's so many stands over there. It's one of them over there. If it's not Uzbekistan, it's that oh my goodness, what's the other country right there? Turkmenistan? Not Turkmenistan. Anyway, one of the other ones doesn't. It's the point is in general. I've talked about it before on other episodes, more specifically and in detail. Go look it up. Essentially, the Armenian Christians. Anyway, go look it up. But 250,000 starved to death. That's not even the ones that they just killed. Okay, so when you want to talk about a genocide, let's really talk about genocide, and that just happened last year. But we can't talk about that, right? That's more of that's more than quadruple, almost 8 times the number of people that actually died in Palestine so far, died over there. But we can't talk about that. Okay, you want to talk about a genocide? Plus, they've been genociding the Armenian Christians for forever. Like Turkey had that whole Armenian genocide, right? Like that was a thing. Like that's a thing, and Turkey tried to admit that like that didn't never happen. But that's a whole separate conversation. Again, like I said, maybe we need another crusade. Maybe we need to go retake the Holy Land, Constantinople. You can't go back to Constantinople. It's Istanbul now. Turkey and Erdogan are a whole nother separate conversation. They got too much junk going on there, and we got to keep an eye on them because they're out there supporting Hezbollah and all these other crazy terrorist organizations. So we really need to keep an eye on Turkey, even though Turkey's supposed to be part of NATO, allegedly. Okay, they got their own stuff going on, and Erdogan is very, very interesting. I don't know if we've ever talked about him on this show before. Maybe one time. But he's worth a show, maybe. But anyway, back to the point. So all these terrorist attacks on Christian places and churches in Russia, but there were also attacks on synagogues at the same time. So places of worship, as well as police stations. So what's going on there? And it's crazy because Russia warned the U.S. that there are some attacks that are planned by these same type of Islamic terrorists to happen in the U.S. So y'all better keep your ears open and to the ground and get prepared and get ready. Okay, go buy some more ammo. Go buy some more freedom seeds, people. Freedom seeds, stock up. Okay, train, practice. Okay, get ready. Okay, because you never know what's going to happen. I'm not saying that something's going to happen, but if I were to be a betting man, I'd say something's definitely going to happen. Okay, and so says the FBI even. The FBI said they're very likely to attack churches and stuff like that. They already attacked like what, 4 or 5 churches this year, including Joel Osteen's church got shot up by some transgender, what was it? The girl, right? Why did all these transgender girls are the ones that shoot up all the schools and we can't even talk about it? Remember that transgender girl? She's talking about she's a boy, shot up that Christian school. Can we talk about that? No, you can't even talk about that. That's silence. I seen somebody sent me a message the other day talking about some trans girl was going to shoot up one of the schools up here where I live. I want to say it was Saratoga. It might have been somewhere else. I don't have the thing in front of me. I wasn't going to talk about that today. But that's something very interesting too. But we can't talk about those type of things, okay? Because they don't want to put it in the news. They don't want to talk about anything like that. It's very important that we talk about that actually, because they don't want to put out the thing there that these people are mentally disturbed, okay? They are very mentally disturbed. How could you not be mentally disturbed and you think that you're another gender, right? Like you got wedding tackle, you were born with wedding tackle, you're a man, right? If you were born with a smooth crease, you're a woman, right? Like unless there was some disastrous malformation in the womb or something like that, right? But how often does that happen? Next to never. Okay? But if we're having a real conversation about that type of stuff, these people are very, very, very much so the same people that prior to the early 2000s would have been put in a mental institution. These people crazy. And people are feeding their psychosis. And I meant everything that I said, and I stand by everything that I said. I will not participate in their psychosis. And you can try to call me whatever you want, whatever you want. I want them people to get help. They need a hug. They need Jesus more than anything, because that's what the issue is with the emptiness in their heart. That's why they want. People are desperately trying to cling on to whatever they can. Oh, I want to feel part of a group. And now the alphabet people include everything, including pedophiles. I was watching this radio show the other day that I watched, and this lady, what was the group that she said that she was with? Oh my goodness. I don't know. Some pedophile people that try to encourage pedophiles to be normalized, and they were like, oh, so you're a pedophile. She's like, I'm not a pedophile. And they were like, oh, so you're supporting pedophiles. She's like, well, I'm just saying that they need to be destigmatized, or whatever the case is. Nonsense. And that the P should be added to the LGBT. You want to add the P to? Y'all tripping. But they also got it called minor attracted peoples, right? Like, that's the pedophiles. And then they got the other people that they call it boy love and girl love. That's the pedophiles too. But we can't have those conversations that these people are trying to normalize that. And we can't even talk about bestiality. There was some, what school was it? Oh my gosh. Go look it up, okay? Because I don't remember off the top of my head. This was like 2 weeks ago or something. There was some school that, I think it was an all-girls school too, it might have been. Anyway, they were doing this show, or they were doing, like, you know how they do like the videos in school or whatever. They were showing these kids, they were showing them a movie about bestiality, encouraging bestiality, saying that bestiality should be normalized, and this is in the school for the children. Can we talk about that? Can we have a real conversation about how we had the guy, what was it, Penn State, okay, or maybe it was the University of Pennsylvania, one of them two. He's over there banging the dog in the woods. Then they caught the guy. He's like, oh, I just do it to blow off steam. It's normal. I just do it to blow off steam. And then you got all these things popping up of all this bestiality, okay? Once you realize that the real God that they worship, okay, is both transgender and a beast, then you start to, that loves child sacrifice, then you really start to understand what's going on and why this agenda is being pushed on our children, is being pushed on our nation, and is being pushed purposefully to destabilize our country and limit the power of America to push globalism. Drink water, stay hydrated. But we can't have those conversations, the serious conversations that we need to be having. Somebody gonna get mad, I don't care, man. Y'all got too soft feelings. Got make me want to spit. I ain't said nothing that ain't right and ain't true. Okay? So the fact is that we have gone too far, right? Because we've gotten too far, maybe. Because all of this started when they started pushing all of this alphabetism. I saw a lady, a lesbian. I wish I had the video on my phone so I could play it for you. She saw she was showing the videos, the lesbian lady, old lady, right? Like, she used to fight for gay rights and stuff like that. And she's like, if I knew that we were going to be where we are right now with all this transgenderism and all of this insane stuff going on in our society, I would have never fought for gay rights. That's a powerful statement. That's a powerful testimony. And now for all of the Christians out there that are older than me, okay, and the generation before and the generation before that, y'all seen it coming. Y'all remember when it used to be, gay people used to not be able to get married, and they were like, oh, we just want a civil union. We don't want to get married, we just want a civil union. And they got a civil union. Oh, we want to get married. Well, but you just said that you only wanted a civil union. No, we deserve to get married. And they got married. Okay, no, we want equal rights. But, well, you got all the equal rights. You're humans, right? You got the same rights as all the other humans. And you can get married. Like, what rights is it that you don't have? Well, we want equal rights. But they already had equal rights. I don't understand. That don't make no sense. And y'all ain't special because you're some sort of different people. You people just like everybody else. Now we got all these other crazy issues with all these extra protections where you can't say nothing, you can't hurt nobody's feelings. And in New York State, they got this ballot initiative on the back of the ballot this year. I encourage you to vote no on everything on the back of that ballot if you're in New York State this year. It's called the ERA, also key named the Parent Replacement Act. And they're disguising it, calling it the Equal Rights Amendment. But we already have equal rights in the New York State Constitution, okay? It's already enshrined in there. But they're trying to add gender identity and gender, what was the other one? Oh my goodness. Gender identity and gender, some weird word, right? like it was gender feeling or something like that, right? Like basically whatever you feel, right, is weird, right? But that's not the point. That's the whole problem, right? Like all humans are created equal, right? I thought that was the concept. All men are created equal, da 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 da, right? Why we need all this extra stuff? Race is already protected, sex is already protected, religion is already protected. All of this is already protected in our state constitution. Now they're talking about they don't want any, you can't have any age discrimination or anything, right? Like if you're an older person and you're listening to this show and you get those golden oldies specials when you go to the restaurants and stuff, you get the elderly discount and stuff like that. You can't get those under this new law, right? Because no age discrimination. But what more so it pushes, and why it's called the Parent Replacement Act, is it allows children under 12, okay, because we already have it where if they're over 12, they can already make their own decisions, okay, medically, and get transitioned or get their stuff chopped off, okay, genital mutilation, and all of that's already okay in New York State. They ain't even got to tell the parents, and it'll come right off of your right out of your healthcare package, right? But now they're trying to make it for under 12, and I promise you that this is ushering in pedophilia, okay? Because they're going to say, oh, well, you can't discriminate on love is love, right? That's what they say all the time, right? That's what they say, right? Love is love. So boy love and girl love is all okay, right? Like a 50-year-old can be in love with a 9-year-old and stuff like that. Like I'm like, this isn't a joke. Like I'm not saying this to be funny. I am ever so dead serious, right? And then the way that the law is set up, if you say anything about it, it'll put you in jail. You get put in jail for discrimination if you say something about, oh, pedophilia is not good. Oh, bestiality is not good. Jail. Jail. And they want to put this on the ballot because they know that they can't pass it as a law, because they tried to pass it as a law in the state legislature. The people of the state will be up in arms. It would never pass. So that's why they're trying to sneak it in and put it as a constitutional amendment with a faulty name, with a fake name, trying to trick people. But can we have that conversation of all this trickery, right? Because all of that's from the devil. It says so in the Bible. We need to have these conversations. They don't want the Bible in schools. They don't want you to know the Bible because they know that if you actually started reading the Bible, you'd see all of the evil that's going on in the world and you really start to know what's really going on, as some of the things that I've outlined here. And because of all of the deception and all of everything that's going on, they've weakened our borders, they've weakened our stance in the world, and we are very, very desperately open for attack. And just the other week, they saying that they're instead of reinstating the draft, they're automatically drafting everybody. Instead of having selective service, you got a choice. If you're a male and you're 18 to 26, or maybe it's 25, 18 to 26, then you're going to automatically be registered for the military. They're telling you what they're about to do. Now they're trying to add females to that. It already passed the House. Now they're trying to add females to it in the Senate version. If that passes, that means everybody 18 to 26 going out to war. The only purpose that they're doing that for is to send all of our youth that are actually of fighting age, that actually might be able to do something to protect our homes, to protect our country inside the borders. It's to send them away because they don't want them to be able to fight here on the soil, because they're fermenting all types of plans and deviousness on our soil. I promise you that they're going to use the illegal aliens as a mercenary force against the American citizens. They've already started registering them to be police, and they ain't even citizens, and giving them guns, and they ain't even citizens. And you know you can't get a gun in California, but they're giving the illegal aliens guns and badges. Are we being real right now in California? If I'm not mistaken, Portland and Seattle are doing it, in Washington as well. But can we have that conversation? Not to mention other states as well. We really need to be on top of that, because it'll come here to New York. In New York, we thankfully got a lot of pushback against that type of stuff right now with these illegal aliens. But Kathy Hochul is very weak on that issue, and she loves it very much. Okay? She don't care because it don't affect her. But it's a wonder why they're putting all these illegal aliens in all of these black and underserved communities. You ever wonder why that is? Okay? Because they're going to use them as a weapon, as a mercenary force against us first. Then they're coming for the rest of your white people, okay? Don't think they ain't coming for you. They're coming for you. You can't sit idly by and think you in the suburbs and you're going to be safe. Nah, the government ain't playing them things because they know that you got the guns. They know that you got some actual care about your family and are willing to stand up because you got a little bit more resources than the people in the city. They're not stupid. They're coming for you too. And that's why they try to push all types of division between blacks and whites that are working class and in poverty, because they know that if we stood and united together, we'd be able to turn the whole table up and turn it over. We'd be able to take that teapot and dump it out. And they don't want that. They don't want us to unite. They don't want Democrats to know that they can vote Republican. If you're a Democrat, you can vote Republican. Did you know that in the general election? You don't even have to be registered in the general election. So in November, if you're a Democrat or you're an independent, vote Republican. You don't even need to change your party to do it. But we really need to be having these conversations, and they're trying to limit our ability to have any type of real conversations. And it is a very, 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 very serious issue. And we need to wake up. They're destroying our country, okay? And what are they doing to our country? They're trying to make it so that our country loses power and globalism gains power. We got so many people inside the bureaucratic offices in the United States of America that are part of the federal government. And people are mad, oh, well, Trump's got the Project 2025 and it's going to ruin the country. No, it's going to push the globalists out of all of these fiefdoms. Fiefdoms are like private territories and private armies. Really, the concept is that they basically solidified themselves in different branches of the government so far that they've got so much power that will be more than anybody because they've been there for so many years. And it's kind of like tenure if you were out of school, but worse, right? Because it's a bureaucracy, and bureaucracies never die. And that's a serious issue. So they've got their own fiefdoms built up in these bureaucracies, and they're pushing their own private agendas, whether it's for their cousins or their own personal benefit or for their benefactors or whoever, or for special interests or whatever. But largely, a lot of them are pushing globalist policies and stuff like that. I could talk about different things that happened under other presidencies where they tried to start to dismantle some of that, but they got pushback from the people who really run the government. Not people in the government, people that really are behind the scenes running everything. So we really need to have these conversations. All these people need to be pushed out. So y'all talking about, oh, the Project 2025 is bad. Why? Shouldn't nobody be in there for like 30 years? In no government office. Y'all tripping. And they the head of the office. They run everything. And they got more power than a lot of the directors that are out there. And that's a real serious issue. Okay? We need to have that serious conversation. But y'all, people out there mad. Mad for what? Y'all don't even know what goes on in the bureaucracy. Y'all can't name me one thing that y'all like. If you have ever been to the DMV, you can't tell me that you like the DMV. Nobody likes the DMV. Okay? Are you serious? Okay, you like the bureaucracy? You like 50,000 leagues of paperwork? Okay, where you got to file 8 different forms to get one different thing, and then you got to go to 20 different offices to get it? Are we being real? Do you want your permits and stuff and loans and stuff denied by some shadowy people that you can't even really understand who they are or how they're making their decisions? But we can't really have that conversation because people aren't really that invested into understanding how the government works or how the bureaucracy works. I'd equate it like this. Think of these massive bureaucracies as evil corporations, right? Now, the corporations somewhat kind of do necessary things, right? So you kind of need the corporation at some level, but it's the administration of the corporation and the people inside the corporation that are bad. And as they say, you're not able to change a machine from within because you'll become corrupted by the machine. You'll become part of it, right? That's why you got to clean it out. And that's a very serious issue, but we don't want to talk about that. Bill Clinton tried to do it, didn't work out very well for him. They shut him down, okay? We really need to have that conversation. I wasn't a big fan of him because he really turned globalist after they shut him down there. They probably told him that they'd put him in a box or whatever the case is. You saw what they did with him and Monica Lewinsky, so that was just like it was a taste. We'll let you, this is just a warning to you. If you don't capitulate, we're going to completely get rid of you. You understand what I'm saying? So if y'all know about Monica Lewinsky and the whole scandal with Bill Clinton getting the blowy in the White House, y'all need to go look into it, okay? And then he testified for 5 hours about what is the definition of it. Madness. The whole thing was a dog and pony show. Anyway, And the whole thing's so disgusting, it makes you want to spit. But as we proceed with the show, and as we're talking about all of these potentials that are coming further and faster and everything in our country, we need to understand that our country, as individuals, as people, we are not able to really defend ourselves in many parts of the country because they've limited our ability to have access to firearms to protect ourselves. The Second Amendment says the firearm, your guns rights should not be infringed. It's any firearms, that's anything that can be used as an arm, right? An arm is a weapon, okay? Defensive or offensive, okay? Anything that can be used to beat back enemy forces, right? Anything that can be used if the government turns out to be corrupt and going and working against the people, which the government is corrupt and working against the people and is becoming more and more tyrannical every day. And everybody on the left and everybody on the right says it. I don't get it. Y'all both say it. People on the left say it. People on the right say it. The libertarians swear up and down by it every single day. Okay? Government's corrupt. Government's evil. Government is turned into a tyranny. Government is authoritarian. Everybody says that. That's not like something anybody different. Everybody, right? Like I'm making a vast generalization, but it is a vast generalization. The left says it. The right says it. Libertarians say it. The people in the Green Party say it. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody is in agreement. And the government is clearly stripping away and limiting your rights, liberties, and freedoms more and more every day. But we can't have that conversation. But our founding documents say if the government does that, you need to take the teapot and pour it out. But we seem to have this concept that, oh no, we can't do that, or that shouldn't happen, or there's no way that can happen. I remember Joe Biden, he said, if you wanted to overthrow the government of the U.S., you need F-16s and nukes, right? Y'all remember he said that? Go look it up. I actually had some printed t-shirts, some t-shirts in my t-shirt line that I made that said that on there. I thought those were really cool. Anyway, but he said that out his mouth. So if he said that, and this was after January 6th, right? So if he said that, and on January 6th, when that whole kerfuffle happened, nobody was found with any weapons or anything. So how is it an insurrection when Joe Biden got on the TV and said if anybody really wanted to overthrow the government, they need F-16s and nukes? That's what Joe Biden said. That's what the president said. That's what the leader of the Democrat Party said, right? That's what he said out his mouth, right? So then if that's what he's saying, then there's no way that January 6th could have possibly been an insurrection, especially people, because there were no weapons involved. Not one weapon was found there or on anybody's person. And on top of that, nothing was damaged inside the Capitol. Not one painting, not one model, not one diorama, not one. They got so much different stuff in there. Like if you've ever been there, it's amazing. It's like a mini museum, right? Like everything's worth hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in there. Nothing was destroyed. Nothing was damaged. Nothing was stolen, right? But when Antifa or these crazy anti-American jihadist terrorists run all up on everything, they're out there vandalizing everything. They're vandalizing all the paintings. They're vandalizing all the monuments. They're breaking into stores. They're destroying buildings. They're setting stuff on fire. None of that happened on January 6th. And there were no weapons involved. So how on earth is that an insurrection? And then Joe Biden gets on TV and says that if you would have wanted to overthrow the government, you'll need F-16s and nukes. Clearly, Joe Biden knows it wasn't an insurrection. But the rest of the world is being told by Nancy Pelosi and the rest of her gaggle of giggles, okay? Her, Adam Kinzinger, dang, what's other? Chuck Schumer and the rest of them, okay? The black guy, what's his name? Oh my goodness, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Anyway, him, the rest of the squad, and all of them crazy people, okay? We're not being real right now. However, I will say this. Joe Biden later changed up his statement on what you would need to take over the government and change it to say that people would only need F-14s. So I think that that's a little lower level because then he didn't say F-16s. He said F-14s, and he didn't say nukes that time. So, hey, maybe. I laugh because it's funny, but it's not funny. It's not funny. Our government is clearly corrupt. Okay, our government is clearly corrupt. It's clearly against the people, and everybody knows it on every side. But nobody's willing to stand up and do what needs to be done. But that's besides the point. Like, I don't think that that's going to happen. But the more concerning point is that because everybody is so divided on everything else, the people that are inside the government, especially in the bureaucracy, are pushing policies that are limiting the ability and power of the United States of America. And by doing that, they are making us weaker, and they are making us more easily to be preyed upon by our enemies, especially China. And many of them are serving the interests of China. Okay? And if you ask me, all of this Ukraine stuff is being pushed by China. Okay? Why is it being pushed by China? So it can weaken Russia, because they know that Russia is their closest neighbor and is the only real military power in the area that could actually stand up to them at all. We really got to see what's coming, and the main priority for everybody needs to be China. Forget Russia. Russia barely got enough stuff to defend their own borders. Russia ain't it. Okay? What do they say in common colloquialism? Russia couldn't bust a grape. That's why they're so gung-ho on them not militarizing Ukraine and Ukraine not joining NATO. Because it's right on that peninsula right there. I forget what you call it. The Eurasian plate, maybe that's what that's called over there. I forget. Don't quote me on that. Okay, plateau maybe. I don't know. Whatever that is over there. Like, it's like complete straight flat ground. Basically right from Europe all the way down into Moscow, essentially, in St. Petersburg. Okay? Most of the people in Russia, because of the way that it's so what do you call it? Rural? No, that's not. Forested? Barren, right? Like, barren isn't the adequate word, right? Because it's got a lot of trees and a lot of nature and a lot of all that. But it's sparsely populated. Most of Russia is very sparsely populated. It's like kind of like Canada, where like 95% of the population lives like within 100 miles of the border. Yeah, it's like that. So it's not easily defensible, and that's why Russia's so gung-ho about the stuff going on with NATO, because they've been invaded that way many times by many of the countries that are in NATO. Well, we can't talk about that. That they, like, we're over there where people are talking about, oh, Israel has its right to exist. Israel has its right to exist. Fair enough. Does Russia have a right to exist? Can we have that conversation? Does Russia have a right not to have missiles aimed at it on its own border? Israel has a right not to have those. Does Russia? Are we going to have that conversation? No. Because you can't talk about that like that. But, hey, it is what it is. It is absolutely what it is. And we in the U.S. need to be on the lookout for the continued rise of all these crazy attacks. Okay? By these crazy anti-American jihadists that call themselves to be pro-Palestinian, these fake Muslims, okay? What do you call them? New Wave Muslims or whatever, right? Like, they're not real Muslims. Y'all don't practice Islam. Y'all tripping. Y'all making everybody look bad. Jeez. You know? And the real Muslim terrorists, right? Like, we got real Islamic terrorists inside our borders right now. And that's terrifying. But we can't have that conversation. You know? Then, aside from them, we got all the Chinese spies and Chinese anti-American nonsense. China's basically already taken over California, and that's a whole nother conversation. We've had a light conversation about that before, but that's definitely worth a whole full conversation and a whole full episode. But it's crazy. If you're watching us on YouTube, or if you're watching us on X or Rumble or whatever, I encourage you, like, subscribe, share, and make sure that you're letting other people know to come and tune into the show. And it's Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m. on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. If you're listening to us on the radio, hey, if you want to donate or if you want to sponsor the show, reach out, Marcus Williams 222 at outlook.com. That's Marcus Williams 222 at outlook.com, and we'll give you a plug. So let's get back into the show. Here's the deal. No one is coming to save us. And I pray that if you're listening to this, if you can hear me out there, that you are not downtrodden, that you are not giving up hope. Be empowered, be encouraged, be full of light. Okay? We must stand up and fight. Okay? How do we do that? What does that look like? Against all of these terrible policies that are going on in the schools, where they can care more about how much money they can get off the students than they care about the students' educations, destroying the lives of our babies, increasing crime, and increasing and decreasing the quality of life in our own communities. Be encouraged, be empowered. Push back against the anti-crime, against the pro-criminal, anti-gun laws that are being put into place. Push back against that. Okay? Push back against the terrible policies of non-policing and the terrible policies that have defunded the police. Okay? That's what we need to do. Our government is doing everything that they can to work against us on large scale. That's not every individual. Largely, I'm talking about the bureaucracy. Okay? That's why Project 2025 is so important. Okay? But largely, I'm talking about the bureaucracy. But aside from that, also people inside our government, people inside our military. Like, if you're a Marvel fan, you might know the whole issue with SHIELD and Hydra, right? Where Hydra was really SHIELD, because Hydra, after World War II, kind of inserted itself into SHIELD and wormed its way through everything, like the tentacles of Hydra are in everything. That's what's going on in our country. And people like, oh, no, that's not what's going on. Yes, that's what's going on. Why do you think there's all this socialist, communist ideology everywhere? Why do you think everything is Marxism? Do you not see it? What's his name? Was it John? I think it was John McCarthy. McCarthyism, that dude. He was like, this was back right after World War II, right? Like, well, maybe it was it was after World War II, right? It's more later than that. Salvador Dali and all of them during that time. Maybe that's the same time. I don't remember. My time frame right around that time is a little skewed right now. It's hot. Anyway, so right around that time, McCarthyism popped up into existence. Go look it up. They'll try to frame it like it's a bad thing, but he was accusing the communists and the Marxists of doing everything that we're seeing right now. He's like, the Marxists and the socialists have invaded all of the art scene. They've invaded all of the schools and academia. They've invaded Hollywood, and they're controlling all of this stuff. Well, you look at a movie, they've got all this Marxism and DEI and social engineering agendas and all of this critical race theory and all of this stuff that goes back to critical theory, which is a communist thing, okay, which you need to look up and actually understand what it really is. Critical theory, go look it up, Marxism, okay? And it all goes back to what he said. He was like, they're inside everywhere. And then they had testimony and stuff in Congress. They didn't really shut anybody down like they should have. But he was right then. And in the history books, they tried to say that he was wrong. He was right about everything. I learned about him in school, and they said that he was a bad man. He did this, he did that. That man was right. That man was absolutely right about everything. Okay? Because it's the same thing that we're seeing exactly now. You know, what was his name? Eisenhower, right? Was it Eisenhower? I'm pretty sure it was Eisenhower. After Eisenhower, during World War II, he said that we should have kept marching right into Moscow because we defeated the wrong enemy. The enemy is communism. The enemy is socialism. The enemy is this Marxist, globalist agenda. That's what the enemy really, truly is. The enemy is all of these people, all of these anti-American people, all of these people who are waving flags of other countries in our nation, cheering on the interests of other nations, talking about death to America, talking about there's no solution but an intifada revolution, talking about we are Hamas, talking about we are Hezbollah, talking about they are the Democrat Socialists of America. All of you are traitors to our nation and deserve what traitors deserve, and that is complete excommunication from the United States of America, okay? I can't say what I really want, but I'll tell you this, there's a certain punishment for treason, and that maybe should be upheld. Because the destabilization in our country and what's happening to the livelihoods of our nation is very serious. This globalist agenda is being pushed by this Marxist nonsense, and all of these people that are involved are witless pawns. These people, most of these people can't conceptualize the people that are really at the top of the pyramid that are pushing this Marxist agenda, they don't believe in any of that. They believe in authoritarianism. They're using you all as tools to further their agenda. And it's crazy to me because these crazy socialists or socialists of America or the democratic socialists or both of them, all combined, the communists of America, all of them, they're witless pawns. Who are you really serving? And they're like, oh, well, the corporations are bad, they're big, they're evil. The millionaires, the billionaires, they're bad, they're evil, they're evil. Who do you think that you're serving? Who do you think is financing you? Like, are y'all real right now? Like the people at the top of the pyramid are maneuvering you around on the chessboard, clearing house so that they can move in and gain more power. All of these limitations of ability to grow your own food and produce food in our country. Are you serious? Have you seen the price of meat, cheese, vegetables right now? Did you just see they just shut off all the water to 50,000 acres of farms in Idaho? No more potatoes, y'all. Prices of potatoes gonna go through the roof. And onions too, right? They grow onions over there, right? Okay, can we be real? Which onions tend to be a little bit more profitable. But we can't talk about that. Separate conversation. Also, I don't like onions. I'm about that potato life, but that's beside neither here nor there. Fact of the matter is this. That's not the only issue. We can talk about what's going on with the beef industry right now. We can talk about what's going on with all the chickens right now. We're talking about how the FBI wants you to register your garden in your backyard right now. Like, these are real things. Everything that I mentioned is a real thing. Go look up Michigan and what they're doing with the cows and the cattle. Okay? Like, this stuff is real. Go look up the second largest chicken farm that is a free-range chicken farm that just burnt down. 15 million chickens dead. Come on, can we talk about this? Are we going to have real conversations? All during this crazy bird flu epidemic that's going on, that where somehow the bird flu affects the cows too. And it might possibly somehow go over to humans sometime soon. But we're not going to talk about that. We've talked about that in previous episodes. But the point is that these are the agendas that are being pushed. This inflation, you think this inflation and the stuff with the banks and everything isn't being pushed by the same type of agenda? I remember when the Democrats did Occupy Wall Street, when they were talking about all the big banks and stuff like that. Where are those Democrats? They're all gone. Like, come on. The Federal Reserve and the Department of Treasury are bending us all over right now, okay? And they ain't giving nobody no type of lube, and they ain't trying to be gentle, and you don't want it, and they're giving it to you anyway. There's a word for that. It starts with an R and it ends with an E, and it's got a P in it too. And I'm not going to say it, but that's exactly what they're doing to the American people. Look at inflation. Inflation is a silent, deadly tax on the American people. But can we have that conversation? Can we be for real, for real? Why is it that they want to lower the inflation rate? Not lower inflation. They want to lower the inflation rate. They're like, oh, well, it's only going up 2%. It's lower than the 5% it was going up. But all of that stacks up continuously. Okay? And they're like, oh, well, it's only 5% right now or whatever. It's better than it being 10%. Yeah. But if you look at it since Biden's been in office, it's at about 30% overall right now. How much was groceries costing you before Biden was president and now after Biden's been president for 4 years? Okay, and I'm not saying specifically I'm blaming that on Biden, but I'm specifically putting that on Biden. Okay, his office is supposed to determine monetary policy, and he's sending our money to all types of other countries while the American people are suffering. You make that make sense to me. You make it make sense to me. And all the bureaucrats are down for it. You make it make sense to me. Where's that money, Pete Buttigieg? Okay. Where's the billions of dollars that were put into $3.5 billion was put into infrastructure for these chargers to make everything go electric? We ain't got none. Well, they got 5 out of $3.5 billion. $3.5 billion to build 5 small electric charging stations. Come on, people. We are being fleeced by our government. And that's your tax money. And you wonder why things keep going up in price, because your government is spending you out. Every dollar that the government spends is tax money out of your pocket. That's your money. And then you don't ever see it, but their cousins see it, their benefactors see it, the lobbyists see it in their industries, but you don't see it. The only thing you see is that now you can't afford to go to McDonald's once a month because McDonald's is a luxury now, even though if you came from my type of family, you know, we can't have no McDonald's because we got McDonald's at home. Some of y'all know what that is, okay? Some of y'all heard that before. You can't get no McDonald's because you got McDonald's at home, or you got McDonald's money. Y'all might have heard that before, okay? But you can't even go to McDonald's because McDonald's is like going out to go eat at a real sit-down restaurant. You talking about like $40, $35, $40 for 2 meals at McDonald's. Come on now. All of this inflation is destroying our ability to be free of the government overarching control on us. The social programs, welfare, and food stamps and stuff like that aren't even able to provide enough because the value of the dollar is so little. Then we got all these illegal aliens mooching off our system, destroying our healthcare system, overrunning our healthcare system. Poor Texas, you should hear them talk about the healthcare system down there because of all the illegal aliens. Go ask some people from Chicago what's going on with the healthcare system over there because of all the illegal aliens. Go ask New York City about the healthcare system there because of all the illegal aliens. Because they get all of this stuff. Somebody that works at one of the places that houses the illegal aliens here told me that they get like $1,500 a month and cash, and then they get like $1,500 of food stamps depending on the size of the family and stuff like that. And they said that they got fired from their job because they were trying to stop somebody that was one of the illegal aliens from beating on one of the other ones that was, I guess, their woman or wife or whatever, maybe is pimping her. I don't know the whole story, okay? But this is what's going on in our country. These illegal aliens are overwhelming the system. You'll say, well, Marcus, they're asylum seekers. Ain't all them asylum seekers in the world. Ain't all them asylum seekers in the world. Do you know that 92 to 95% of all asylum claims are denied in the United States of America? Are we being real right now? And then right now we're putting on them 10 years out, 15 years out, 20 years out is their appointment to check to see if they even would qualify. And in the meantime, we're paying for their quality of life. And in the meantime, the American citizen is struggling. The single mother with 2 kids is struggling to pay, even though she's working 60 hours a week trying to raise her children. The single father is struggling, trying to work 2, 3 jobs to pay for his children, okay? Trying to take care of his kids. The 2-family household, even though both of the parents are working, are struggling trying to take care of their kids. Can we have that conversation? Can we really have that conversation? And we got all these billions of dollars in New York State. They just allocated, how much was it? How much was it? Was it 32 million? It was, let me see. Y'all, I don't really mess with Siri, okay? But I'm going to have to ask Siri because I can't remember off the top of my head. How much, oh, hey Siri, how much was the New York State budget? $237 billion, right? So $237 billion, out of that, they've allotted for about $3 billion. Geez, $237 billion. That is a ton of money. Jeez. That's a ton of money. Anyway, how is that even possible? How is that even possible? Like, that's just so much, like, that's so much money that's even unreasonable. Like, I don't even trust that that's the right number. Now I gotta ask Google because that just sounds so crazy to me. How much is New York State budget? Let's see what it says. Okay, the upcoming budget is $132 billion. That's what this says. I feel like that's not quite right because I'm pretty sure it was a little more than that. Yep, nope, here it is. $237 billion budget marks record investments of people of New York without raising income tax. Daggone lies. We broke. We ain't got no money in New York State. Stop lying to the people. That's from the government. It's from New York State government. That's from budget.ny.gov. Okay, $237 billion. Okay, out of that money, there is anywhere between 7 to $30 billion that's being put into projects for illegal aliens, okay? $7 billion is going towards them, and then there's like another 3.4 billion, and then there's all these other different programs and stuff that are being expanded, and largely it's because of illegal aliens, and they're draining our resources, and it's expensive for you to go put gas in your car. Come on. They're draining our resources, and the bus still isn't free somehow, even though the buses and the public transportation is massively subsidized almost completely by the New York State government. It's not free. Why is public transportation not free if we're paying for it anyway? Somebody make it make sense to me. Anyway, but they got all this money for illegal aliens. You're not getting none. They just gonna tax you more. They're like, oh, well, we didn't raise taxes. Who didn't raise taxes? Who didn't? What taxes you didn't get raised? Gas is up. Electric is up. Y'all raised them. The New York State Assembly raised those. Okay, they raised those. That's a tax on people. Don't play in my face. You raised the gas tax. That's a tax on people. Don't play in my face. Somehow you didn't raise taxes. What taxes? Which ones? The percentage of income tax? Abolish state income tax. Okay, I'm trying to push that for the state to abolish state income tax. I'm running for state assembly in New York State, the 137th Assembly District this year. If you guys would like to support my campaign personally, go to marcusforrochester.com. That's www.marcus4rochester.com. Okay? But that's one of the things that I'm pushing, to abolish state income tax, because you deserve to keep the money that you earn. You worked hard for it, you deserve to keep it. Okay? But they keep taxing us. Right? The money ain't going to the schools. We got one of the worst school systems here in Rochester, New York, where I live, right? It's $1.4 billion is the budget. It's 40 something thousand dollars per child that they're using. And out of the 264 school districts in the country, we're at the very bottom. But we're at the highest spend per child. But we're at the very bottom of proficiency. Can we have that conversation? No. Then the state was like, oh, well, we're going to cut the funding to other school districts in the state, and people went bananas. Okay? Fact of the matter is that they stealing your money, y'all. They're stealing your money, and you can spend your money better than the state can spend your money. You can spend your money better than the federal government can spend your money. They need to abolish state income tax. They need to abolish federal income tax. You deserve to keep your money, okay? Abolish the IRS and all of that. No offense to the IRS agents. We can transition them over into the CBO or to other departments and stuff like that, Treasury and so forth, okay? I wouldn't get rid of y'all. I know y'all work hard, okay? Just because I don't like the way the whole organization is, don't mean that I don't understand that most of y'all just doing your job. But here's the deal. The government is too big anyway. It needs to be shrunk. It needs to be shrunk. New York State government is huge. Huge people. I can't do a good imitation of him, but you know what I'm saying. Huge. You can do if you still a Hyundai. Like they used to be people. He was like, it's huge. And then he died. Because he was huge. I think he died of cardiac arrest too. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. As we start to roll up on the end of this show, I want to remind you, like and subscribe and share, no matter where you are on the internet, and let other people know. Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m. on WRFZ 106.3. Listen to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. And what we've got going on here in our nation is very important to talk about. But we have to talk about it in the right way, using the right words, using all of the words in the lexicon of language that we have in the United States of America, not to be limited by anybody who says that something hurt their feelings or that something should be more PC. Because it shouldn't, because that's limitation of your ability to think freely. And we need to be able to think freely. We need to encourage critical thinking in the youth. We need to put critical thinking back in school. We need to put civics education back in school, because people don't understand what parts of the government do what, and they're not able to reason half a work a lick a dime. Okay? And that's a very, very serious issue. And I want to encourage all of you out there that are listening. I want to give you the utmost encouragement that you can make a difference. Your vote matters, okay? But more than that, if you care about our country, you have to get active. Nobody is coming to save us. It's up to you, it's up to me, and it's up to everyone else. If it's to be, it's up to me, right? If it's to be, it's up to you, right? That's the saying, right? Come on, people. We got to stand up. We got to galvanize. We got to get active. We got to unite, okay? Because the division that they're pushing in our nation is to the detriment of every single one of us. It's a coordinated attack against the American people. If you are an American citizen, you need to get involved. Okay, and I encourage you, start on the local level. Start at city council or town council. Start at the school board. Start at the fire district. Get on your local party committee if you're registered to a specific party. They have committees. Go look it up. In your area. If you're a Republican, you can get a Republican committee. If you're a Democrat, get on the Democrat committee. In some other states, they got other committees, like libertarians and stuff like that. They don't have that in New York State. But get active. Go sign up to be a poll inspector. Poll inspector. Go sign up to a poll worker, that's what it is. Go sign up to be a poll worker. Go sign up to be a poll site manager. Okay, we need those jobs filled. We need people in there making sure that the ballots are able to be cast in the right way, that people are actually there to maintain the integrity of our ballots. Go get active. Go actually get involved. If you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for you. And I pray to the Lord that this encourages you, that this gives you some sense of what's going on in America and all across the world, because it is time for us to stand up, speak up, and not shut up. Take action. And with that, I'll leave you guys. And I want to remind you, if you have not accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, please go get a Bible yourself, read the New Testament yourself, okay? If you are a previous Christian and you've turned away, turn back to the teachings of Jesus and seek our Father in heaven, okay? Because that's the only way that we're really going to be able to not just change ourselves to be better people, but to change our country and save our world. You guys be blessed and be well. And remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. I'll catch you guys next week. Thank you for listening to The Divide on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. And if you're watching us on X, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and let other people know that we're here and we're trying to get in their ear and let them know what's going on. You guys, I'm out of here. Catch you guys later. Catch you guys later. Be blessed and be well. All right, you guys. Marcus C. Williams here. I don't know why it doesn't keep the comments or the likes when we switch it over to a public video after it's been alive. I think it's got something to do with the number of subscribers that we have, but please like, share, subscribe, and the more subscribers we get, the more people that we can reach, and we can start actually keeping some of the comments when this switches over, hopefully. I'll catch you guys later. Be blessed and be well.